Hello, welcome friends. Welcome. This is, if you are joining us online, welcome to Free Recovery Community. If this is your first time here, welcome. I would like you to know that we are a community for addicts, loved one of addicts, and spiritual refugees. Together, we break the silence of addiction while creating space for for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. There is always one thing that we do not do here in this community. It's 4 simple words. It's going to be up on the screen, and if you would help me shout it out, all 4 words. The one thing that we do not do here. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame. Yes. But I should let you guys know, if you can't already guess what is missing here today. It is Mr. Ryan Canaday. Him and his family all of them are down in El Salvador right now, and so they're deserving a much needed break. So they're letting us, Zach and I, kind of run the show tonight. So, right? So I'm like, thanks for being here. And as we get started, I'll let you guys know a couple of announcements. First off, we have on Sunday, first is welcome bags. Sorry, it's been a few weeks since I've done this. Just outside of these doors after service, we would love to get you connected to a welcome bag if this is your first time here. Inside the welcome bag, you'll find our schedule of all of our different meetings and how to get signed up for our newsletter. On that newsletter, you'll find all the different events that we have going on throughout the week, as well as who the guest storyteller is, and you'll find all just the different events that we have throughout the week, throughout the month, and all the fun ways to stay connected. Also, you'll get some fresh roasted Wagon coffee in there from Tammy Canaday and her extraordinary team at Wagon Coffee. And I'm sure after they come back from their trip from El Salvador, they're going to have some more coffee knowledge to share with us. So I'm sure Tammy will bring us some wonderful new roasts from down there. And then you'll also get some free swag. Our first event of the year is going to be something new that we have not yet done here. This is called Sovereignty and Sobriety, and if you guys come next week, the woman who is actually leading this is going to be our guest storyteller. Her name is Lex, but this is an event. It's going to be on Sunday, January 18th. This is going to be a monthly somatic healing journey. Everyone is welcome, and so every month is going to be a little bit different. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of TRE exercises, but it's trauma release exercises. It's a great way to kind of integrate and kind of release sometimes when we get sober, or just like some of the past stuff. It's like this kind of just helps us reset our nervous system, reset our body. It's a little bit cross between like some gentle yoga stretches. There's no physical requirement for this, but it's a wonderful, and there'll be some sort of either AccuDetox or Reiki services along with that. You can register with that QR code, or if you just go to our website directly under events, you can go there as well and sign up. And then we also have, I don't know if you all remember this, but last year we did a recovery resource fair. This entire room was packed, like even down the halls and in the cafe. We had over 80 different vendors here. It's a completely free event. We're doing it again this year. It's going to be on March 12th. And so right now we're looking for anyone who's a recovery vendor. This could be a treatment center, sober living, really any, like if maybe you have some job placement, like really anything that helps the recovery community. It's free to both participate as a vendor as well as for the community to come. If you need any more questions, this is also going to be on our newsletter. You can also come and see me if you have questions. But if you or anybody you know has any sort of recovery service, we would love to have you. And that is it for now. And as you guys know, every single Saturday, we begin with celebrations. We feel it's really important, so whether it's a sobriety anniversary, maybe it's a belly button birthday, maybe you have a new house, new job, anything that you guys want to celebrate, we take 3 minutes. I'm going to ask, you know what I just realized? That we only have 2 mics. So I'm going to go ahead and have David and Erica go ahead and pass the mics around. But if you guys have a celebration, if you're online, you can drop the comment in the section or in the comment section. Or if you're here, you can just raise up your hand for the celebration, and David and Erica will get you guys the mics.
Hi there, I'm Sarah, recovering addict and alcoholic, and on January 6th, I will be celebrating 5 months, and on January 7th, I will be celebrating my 32nd birthday.
Hi, my name is Mandy, and I just celebrated 5 years of sobriety.
Hi, my name's Katie. I just got my voice back from laryngitis, and so that's a celebration, and for some. And on New Year's Eve, I celebrated 12 years in a row.
Hi, I'm Sonia, and on Christmas Eve, no, actually Christmas Day, I got engaged to this wonderful man next to me, and in 7 hours, no fronts, I will have 2 years clean and sober.
Hi, my name's Saman. I would like to also celebrate Mandy for her 5 years, but also for her running and leading a kick-ass yoga class this morning. I think everybody in there walked away just, thank you, Mandy.
My name is Edward, and I turned 31 yesterday, and I was sober for that, so it's cool.
My name is Scott. A couple days ago, I celebrated 26 years sober.
My name's Andrew, and I'm recovering from meth.
I'm glad you're here.
Erica, do you want to join me up on stage with your beautiful new outfit?
We'll see if I can read words without my glasses.
You do need that on. So now we're going to join those online. Do you want to go first?
Oh,
hi,
Seth. Hi, Seth. Free Recovery Community Chicago moves into our new space tonight.
Yes. Ooh. And if you guys don't follow them on social media, you guys should follow Free Chicago, and that way you can support all the fun things they're doing there. Seth, thank you so much for all that you're doing. Jennifer here is celebrating 9 months sober.
Congrats, Jennifer. Clara had a stroke last Saturday and got my test results back this week, that it was a minor stroke and that I will be back to my normal self with rest and healing. Oh, it's wonderful, Clara. Glad you're feeling better.
Renee, celebrating 5 months clean today. Congratulations, Renee.
All right, Chelsea, I'm celebrating my family. They have been rock solid for me in my recovery. Congrats, Chelsea.
Thank you, Erica. Thanks, friend. All right, guys, this one's super fun. Technically, this is an announcement. But we're doing it a little bit different because the way I'm going to introduce our guest preacher tonight is by kind of telling you who he is and briefly what he does. But he has done so much for the recovery community. And you'll also find with our guest storyteller that it clearly runs in the family. But Zach actually is hosting a recovery roadmap virtual. This is going to be taking place tomorrow. This is a completely free event, but this is a high overview of basically all of the 12 steps in one day, and he has done this here at Free almost every month, I believe, for the past couple months, and this thing's get packed, like it's packed, so there's probably 30, 40 people in the cafe each and every month doing this, and what he's doing for this one, so anyone, if you're watching online, you too can join this. This is going to be completely virtual. I think we can drop this in the comments as soon as I am finished with this. I'm going to see if I can figure that out, and if not, you can find Zach on social, and Zach will have this. But Zach is an extraordinary example, so I'm super, super excited to have him come up here tonight. But I also want to let you all know that we are just now starting a new series. I don't know if you guys are ever familiar with this, but even if you don't know the name of it, you probably know the formula. It is the formula for most major motion pictures. It's also the formula for most of the great novels out there, but it's called The Hero's Journey. And here's a little video to get you started.
The hero's journey begins with a truth you can no longer ignore. A quiet whisper that grows into a roar. You feel the pull to leave the old life behind, to step away from the familiar and comfortable. It's that moment you decide to step into the unknown. You take a breath, and you trust that something bigger, something more powerful, will carry you forward. This isn't just about self-help or small changes. This is about transformation. This is about death and rebirth. It's the journey of letting go of who you were, so you can become who you were always meant to be. This is the hero's journey.
Can you guys hear me okay? Awesome. I am Zach Bloom. I am your guest preacher. Do not adjust your glasses or your viewing experience at home. I'm not Ryan Canaday. No tattoos under these sleeves. One tramp stamp. I always wanted to do that in a church. Okay. So if you would have told me 10 years ago, I'm coming up on 10 years in January 23rd. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I was going to be guest preaching at a sober church, recovery, I'd be like, could you get two more lame groups of people together under one roof? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And now I'm like, could you get two more amazing groups of people together? Because fortunately or unfortunately, I went on my own hero's journey. I had to face the wilderness. I had to go out there and learn why I was addicted to things and face myself at my worst in order to keep surviving at first. And then after a little while, it wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about, I think I'm being called into something beyond survival, and I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that looks like. Who can relate? Okay, all right. You guys are my people. Yes, okay. So, all right. So now, a long time ago, about 10 years, in a church basement far, far away in Centennial, I was sat across from my sponsor, and I was in peril. I was a month sober, and for 2 weeks, I had been sharing about this little glimpse of a spiritual experience that I had, because about 2 weeks sober, I had my first dream sober. I hadn't dreamt in, I couldn't tell you how long, years. That's what the alcohol and the drugs was for. Now, the byproduct, one of the side effects of turning off the nightmare that I was experiencing with drugs and alcohol, that alcohol is actually the solution to turning off the nightmare. Now it also turns off your ability to dream. Maybe I was having dreams, maybe not, I don't know, but I slowly started to descend into this chaotic kind of living nightmare. And one of the things that started to happen was I wasn't dreaming anymore. So I got sober somehow. I got a sponsor somehow. I don't know how that happened. And I'm sat across from him, and I told him, I was like, for the last couple weeks, I've been sharing about this. I'm trying to share about everything. I'm going to 2 or 3 meetings a day. I'm desperate for this thing. My life is terrible. I'm just starting to come to like, I don't think I like my life or myself, and I didn't even know that. Because guess what? The alcohol was working. I didn't know that I didn't like myself or my life. I didn't ever feel like I liked myself or my life, and only when I met alcohol did I feel like I got a night off from that. I was a high achiever, a high performer. I was a Division I college hockey player at the University of Denver. And all of a sudden, in my first 2 weeks, these crazy, I don't know how I got to that. The first thing I remember is this meeting with my sponsor at this point, and I remember this dream that I had 2 weeks in. And I said, yeah, for the last 2 weeks, I've been sharing about this meeting and this dream, and every time I share about this dream, I feel weird for the rest of the day. And I know that that's bad. That's all I know is that all these meetings that I'm going to, I'm staying sober, but I feel weird, and I can't stop sharing about it because I'm trying to share about everything. What do I do? I'm, testing my sponsor out a little bit. And he goes, well, what's the dream about? And I said, the dream's about Ted O'Leary. He goes, who's Ted O'Leary? And I said, he's a guy that I played hockey with. He's also the greatest guy that I've ever met. He's the funniest guy. He was the most brilliant guy. I played with him at DU. He was a captain at DU. We won a national championship together. I played with him in high school. He was the captain of the team. He was the valedictorian of the school. He was also a Betcher scholar. Okay, because he was the valedictorian of the state of Colorado is what that means. This guy was gifted, and he was also the funniest guy. And when I got to the University of Denver, and I didn't know how to drink yet, he was the guy that helped me get to know people. I wasn't playing very much. I was a walk-on. Guys weren't talking to me, but this guy knew me, and he melted the ice for me. He knew that I was funny. He knew that he loved me. He cared about me. We were close friends, and he vouched for me in a hard locker room. And we won the national championship, and I got to be honest, I almost transferred after that year because it was so hard. But Ted O'Leary was one of these guys that was he was a lighthouse for me. And I saw him, he had these gifts that were monumental, but I saw enough similarities. There was some little part of him that was we had the same DNA. He was too smart to be a hockey player, but here he was being a captain of a national championship hockey team, right? And he was gifted in all these ways, but you couldn't convince him about it, right? He would just be self-deprecating and make it funny about him, and then he'd make it about how you're so awesome, right? And so, at 29, he died. And that was right in the heart of when my drinking really was picking up. And I didn't know how to handle that. I was already processing an abortion that I had after college by going to the bar. That's literally what my thought process was. I had this thing happen. I'm feeling a lot of things about it. I thought I was going to have a good life. Now I'm not so sure. And I'm going to go to the bar and I'm going to drink to process my feelings. Well, guess what happens when you go to the bar to process your feelings? Well, you stop feeling things and you end up in a whole lot of bar relationships. And that was a cycle, as we would call that. Just repeating the cycle, repeating the pattern. And man, I didn't realize that this adventure that I felt every night was going to be something that, one of the parts of an adventure, one of the parts of the call to adventure is that you are called out of the familiar. And that's what a drink was. It was an adventure. I didn't know what was going to happen. I could go to the same bar every night, and I often did, 7 nights in a row, because it was going to be a different set of bartenders, a different set of specials, a different set of regulars, a different set of women, right? Different people for me to go and engage with because I had this potion that made me feel like I could connect with people, and this great version of me came out. But over the course of time, that version of me that was coming out, it slowly started to descend into this part of me, this hurting part of me that I wasn't facing at all. Okay, and so we fast forward back to this moment talking to my sponsor. How did I get there? And I'm telling my sponsor, I'm like, I had this dream. It was highly symbolic. And to me, right now in this moment, I can still remember the dream. So it seems like it's something more than a dream, something spiritual. And I didn't know how to process it. And so this guy, had no idea who this guy really was. I've been working with him for 3 weeks, I think. Have no idea what his deal is, this sponsor of mine. And he goes, okay, I get it. Your buddy's dead. It's brutally unfortunate, You're feeling feelings about it. You don't know how to do that yet. That's unfortunate, but we're going to learn how to do that. And he pops open the book the big book I'm talking about, to page 53, and he reads this to me. When we became alcoholics, crushed by a self-imposed crisis, we could not postpone or evade. We had to fearlessly face the proposition that either God is everything or else he is nothing. He either is or he isn't. What was our choice to be? Now, I was prepared for AA and the 12 steps to be a huge Christian psyop, and I didn't want any of that. I thought the world was out to get me. I thought the Christians were trying to get me into their cult. I thought that's what the world was. I was a little mentally ill. I don't know if I mentioned that at this time. And I thought that my sponsor, this unassuming, powerful, beautiful guy, was working for them or something along those lines, and that he was trying to make me a Christian, and that this, so while I'm having, my conscious mind is fighting that right now. And as it's fighting that, and it's like, well, it shouldn't be an either or, like, you know, I'm trying to logically break this thing down. Why my logic is thrown off, he slides this Trojan horse over, and he said, so if God is everything and we're pretending that that's true, and if your buddy is dead, then your buddy would be with God, and that if God's everything, then God's in the room with us, and if your buddy's with God, then your buddy's in the room with us. And in that moment, it was like he walked in the room. It was like Ted O'Leary walked into the room with me and my sponsor in this church basement, and it shifted, and I can feel it now. I got these goosebumps, and and in a flash, in a moment, just like the dream I could remember in a way that was maybe more of a spiritual experience. All of a sudden, I could see this guy in my mind's eye, and he wasn't the bloated, dead, gray guy that I saw in the casket. Lifeless, hopeless, gone from saving us, saving this world. He should have been president, this guy, right? He would have done a good job. And he was alive. He was restored. He was made of light. He looked beautiful. And in a way that seemed more real than me standing here in front of you today, he said to me, bro, I love you. It's so good to see you. I'm great. Don't worry about me. It's so good what you're doing here. And I still get these goosebumps here all over the tramp stamp. You know, and I can feel a presence in the room when I talk about that. Now, I don't know if that means that this is real or if my brain just thinks that it's real and starts pretending like it's real. But it makes me feel good. And guess what? I haven't had a drink since that day. And so all of a sudden, I didn't know about God. I didn't know about a higher power. I didn't know about Jesus. But I knew that St. Ted would be there if I called on him. You know? So this comes to my next point. Why am I qualified to teach this? You know, to be honest, you know, yeah, I've got some stats, right? I'm the a-hole who's like, I've helped a couple hundred people get sober. Just in the cafe over here, just in 2025, we helped over 200 people go through the 12 steps in one day. Yeah, people showed up and they cried, right? Yeah, we have a bunch of people here who've been through that. They cried at they cried at step 11. They cried at step 12 when we finished. And it's like officially, people are like, oh my God, I've done this for decades. And I'm days sober, and I didn't know what the 12 steps were. Now I've got a method. I get it now. The last one we did in December, there was a gal who cried at step 1 and step 2 and step 3 because she was nearly a year sober, and I believe she just celebrated a year. And she had never done the steps. And she didn't have the tools available for whatever the steps are. And I'm not here to push the steps, even though it is still the highest rate of recovery, methodology of recovery. And I'm not knocking all the other ways to do it. I keep doing it until you get the thing, right? But they're very misunderstood. It's hard to explain what the hell they are. So I've gotten to be here doing these things. But can I tell you something? Like, do you know where that started? Me being like some, a guy like my dad, you know, a guy that takes people through the steps, and when they start working with me, and then they don't drink again, and they start sponsoring others like quickly. And when you start sponsoring others quickly, that's one of the secrets of the secret sauce of Recovery Roadmap and Back to Basics, is if you start sponsoring in your first year, it doubles your rates of recovery at a year. You know, and it fights back against what we used to say about like go slow, sobriety, right? It's like, no, get in there, dive in. You can't screw this thing up. What are you going to go back, drink, and die? Like, you're doing that already. And where I started with that was I was not qualified. That maybe is what qualifies me today. I don't know, to be honest. It's actually, I started off totally unqualified. I was the worst sponsor that you could possibly ask to sponsor you. I was the guy with this energy at the meetings, and I was like so on fire for sobriety, and I was having all these spiritual experiences. And then you asked me to sponsor you, and I'm like, we're gonna read the book, and I'm gonna tell you how to do your life, okay? And nobody was getting sober. And you know what? I was staying sober, and that's what everybody told me. They're like, you're staying sober, Zach, that's good enough. And it was, until it wasn't. The guy that I helped, I got really close with a guy, and he fell and hit his head one night on a one-night relapse. And around that time, another guy at another meeting had been a long-term sober guy. He fell and hit his head on a one-night relapse, and he died. And it was like right in the same week that I found that information out. Now here's the deal. So my guy didn't die, and this other guy that I knew did die. And my guy had called me the night before. And when that call came through, I was on the couch with my future wife, and I was like, I'm going to let this one go to voicemail because once I start talking, I don't know what's going to happen. It might be a 30-minute, hour-long thing. I like my future wife. I want to hang out with her. I didn't text him back, nothing. He went and got a drink. He ended up in the ER. By the grace of God, it could have been that guy that passed away, right? And so I was weighing that, and people were like, yeah, but you didn't drink, Zach, and you're not. And I said, yeah, but I tried the best that I could. I can accept that. Perfectionism says otherwise, but as a recovered perfectionist, I could admit, okay, maybe I was trying my best, but maybe I need to grow. Maybe there's a call to grow. So that's why I started doing this stuff, and I was not qualified. I'm the kind of person that could hurt a person. But I was like, I need to get this right. And somebody handed me this book, A Man with a Ponytail, in a meeting. Watch out for the dudes with ponytails in the meetings. They're full of wisdom, and they might be a little weird. But he handed me this book, and it was back to basics, and it was like, how do you do the steps quick and have this spiritual experience quick? And that's what I was experiencing. I was having these spiritual experiences. Couldn't explain it, but I was like obsessed with it. It was a better feeling than drugs and alcohol. That's all it was. I wasn't graduating to sainthood. I was graduating to a better set of neurochemicals. And all of a sudden, I started getting people through the steps. And I had never done that. And they were sponsoring others. And I'm sitting in a room with people, like sometimes it'd be a third of the meeting or half the meeting of my home group would be people in the lineage of my sponsor and me and the people that had gone through the steps, this method that I found. Right? It was crazy, and people are excited, and people are living their life all of a sudden, and so I found something, okay? So it all started with me being, the sickest person in the room, and having this lighthouse moment of like the man with the ponytail, and the Ted O'Learys, and I started to find a path forward. So, what is the hero's journey? Well, I can tell you, God doesn't call the qualified. I was not qualified. I was the opposite of qualified. I'm the kind of guy that had no credibility you would want to stay away from if you really knew my results. God qualifies the called, right? Like, how does anybody build an empire when they start with nothing, right? And don't tell me fake it till you make it, right? There's a way forward, and they just have to see something or believe in something or hear the whisper and go, I think I have to take this seriously. Now, here's the secret ingredient, okay? The secret ingredient. Well, what are the elements of the hero's journey, okay, before we get to the secret ingredient? It's three things here. We leave what is familiar. We enter into what is unknown, which could be death. And we don't know. Even in today's world, we don't know. And then the third piece is you become who you were always meant to be. Now, can I tell you, every time I drank, I was going on that hero's journey. And can I tell you, when I was at my worst, I was thinking that some low-key way I was a hero for not putting people through getting to see me without a drink in me, for keeping my family at arm's length, leaving Christmas early so I could go get drunk. I thought I was doing them a service. You don't want to see me without a drink in my system, or 8, or 12. You know what? I'm just going to skip it. And that's just how I live my life. And there was a hero's journey element of that, but over time, you start looking at the results, and I was spiraling downward. It wasn't a spiral up, it was a spiral down. Okay, so it's a church. I should mention something about the Bible maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's a church recovery community, right? Ryan asked me, what scripture are you thinking about? And I was like, But the Moses story came to mind, okay? And the Moses story, just in a general way, this dude was a murderer. He was orphaned early on. He murdered a dude and ran. And then he hid out in the desert, and he found some new people, and then he had to go. He was called by God, and he rejected the call. And God's like, no, it's you. I want you. He's like, I can't even talk. He's like, I got you. Just keep going. Okay, you're my guy. And he goes back, and he tells Pharaoh, bitch, let my people go, right? Just wanted to say that at church. No, and he said, this is going to happen. And God shows up, and through the faith of Moses, all these miracles occur, including the parting of the Red Seas, and these people come with him to the promised land, right? Everybody know their church or their Bible history? Right to the promised land. Out of slavery, right to the promised land. Are you disagreeing with me, Andy? That's actually what I thought. But as you know, they actually go to the wilderness, right? They go to the wilderness. And they're stuck in the wilderness for 40 years because these people have been in slavery, 3 hots in a cot, but they don't know how to live. They don't know freedom, right? And so, Moses is like, all right, I'll go talk to God again, and he goes and he gets God gives him these spiritual precepts to bring down and help these people to start living by spiritual principles. And he becomes kind of an adjudicator, a judge, and he helps people integrate these spiritual principles into their life. And as a result of that, he's already kind of got it. He's getting the guidance from God, but now the people are getting the guidance from God directly, right? They're getting the principles, practicing these principles in all of their affairs. They're not ready to go into the promised land because it's occupied by all these other people, enemies. So for them to have the discipline to walk into a place that they know is theirs, but it's occupied by other people. Anybody ever stepped into a trap house before? It's a little rough. And so to reclaim these parts of their lives, to reclaim this part of their territory, and maybe there's a symbol here of inner territory, they had to displace what was already there, and they had to have the discipline internally to be able to do that, to listen, to answer with the call, to go looking for the call. Okay, so often the pattern repeats again and again. Like Carrie said, it's underneath all these great stories. It's underneath all the best movies that you know of. In a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, the Star Wars, it's a classic hero's journey. But Moses doesn't go back to help the slaves, and the slaves don't move an inch unless the Pharaoh starts to make it worse for the slaves. If he keeps it status quo for the slaves, he keeps the slaves. But Pharaoh started to be more tyrannical, and he started to expect more of the slaves and giving them less and breaking their backs. And that's when it became relevant for them to move. So the secret ingredient of answering the call is that the call will come so often, most often, as a crisis, as pain, as death. It sounds like, I don't think I can do this anymore. That was my moment. And it was a whisper. I couldn't believe that it escaped my mouth when my friend, after my last drunk and debauchery, it was in Las Vegas, and I vomited all over the airport on the way back. And he's like, well, hey, in 6 months, maybe take a few months off of drinking, but then let's do this again. And I said, I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't know why I said that. Where did that come from? There's got to be more to life than this. Okay, now, I've said that one recently. I had my hand in a washing machine cranking the thing because there's something broken in our washing machine. And I'm hand cranking it. And I was listening to my coach talk. And he said, he was talking about a moment in his life where he goes, you ever stop and think to yourself, there's got to be more to life than this? And I'm like, yeah, I can identify with that. Yes, thank you. And so there was pain. I was in pain. I didn't even realize it until he said something and said, yeah, there's got to be another way. How the hell did I get here? I never looked in the mirror at the end of my drinking, but occasionally I would have to. and I would catch eyes with myself, and there was this moment of like, how the hell did I get here? Anybody can relate? When it got really dark, it was, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be me anymore. You don't have to raise your hand, but can you relate? Lost, lonely, losing. This is where the call shows up. But often, here's part of the trick, you can have all the pain in the world, but until there is a path forward, you will reject the call. Rejecting the call is part of the archetype. It's part of the pattern. You'll reject the call, and it's only going to add to the crisis and add to the pain. And when you reject the call, it's because you don't see the path. That's usually what it is. And here's a cool thing in the recovery. If you get around the recovery community, it's so screwed up and it's so amazing. The healthiest and most horrible people you'll ever meet, or sickest people you'll ever meet, right there in the same meeting. Sometimes in the same person, in the same share, right? And I've been that guy, right? And when I'm listening for the sickness because I'm going, is that me? If I can hear it, that must be about me is what I've learned. Y'all are just a canvas for my mind to project itself. So whatever I'm seeing in you, I don't know if it's actually happening with you. It might be. But I know for sure it's happening with me. When I see a new path, when you get around these communities, when you're here, lighthouses will start showing you the rocks in your life. Lighthouses will start showing you the way. There's people who are lighthouses. There's experiences that are lighthouses. People who have what you want. People who have what you don't want. The Ted O'Learys. He had what I want, but he had a faith that I didn't want. My dad, my mom, my stepdad, my sisters, my wife, my kids, the newcomers in the meeting. They have something I want. I'm healthy enough to know that today. I'm healthy enough to hear that today. If I answer the call, there's a call in every single one of you. There's a call in every single share. There's a call in every single conversation. Okay, and going back to this moment, this lighthouse people, they say, you have this interaction with them and it makes you go, oh, I'm one of those. And this brain that I was brought into this world with, and I don't know how I got it, but it was telling me I was different from everybody, not in a good way usually, in a judgmental way, in a way that I had to pay for because those are my thoughts in my head. Those are the ingredients in my cake, and I'm wondering why it's a shitty cake, why I don't like it. So these people, I'm one of those. All of a sudden, it's an opportunity to maybe get out of here in the slavery and get in anywhere else. It might seem like the promised land at first, but then you get around them, and maybe it's more wilderness than promised land, all right? But you keep going, and you keep doing this work. And you have a chance to keep moving beyond. This is the hero's journey. Leaving what is familiar, entering what is unknown, becoming who you were always meant to be. So Moses rejects the call and eventually becomes a lighthouse for his people. Funny thing about Moses, he didn't make it to the promised land. But isn't that enough? Isn't Moses' story enough? Did he do enough to redeem himself? I mean, I would give him a pass for sure, But he helped people get ready to get into their promised land. And when you're in here and you're doing this work, whether you're just showing up and you don't have a lot of tools, but you're showing up and you're interested, and you're talking, having a conversation, you have no idea might save somebody's life. I had a conversation with Ted O'Leary, it might have saved his life. Now, I don't carry shame and guilt about that today. Sometime around, the 50th sponsee that I helped get through the steps, I started walking a little bit more upright for the sins that I had committed. It was like that stuff just started to come off me a little bit, and I started going, well, I'm in this new area of life. Okay, can you throw up the slide with the bullseye? Okay, sorry, back a couple, that one, yeah. I'm sorry to show this to you, but this is a scoreboard. This is a spiritual scoreboard, but it's also kind of a real scoreboard. And there's these 8 areas of life, and they all start with F, except for romance. I couldn't think of a word that starts with F about romance. And what you do is, you're my people. What you do is you soberly, you take an account. you do a little inventory, and you go, scale of 1 to 10, no decimals, I see you out there. I'm a recovered decimal person. And you take a score, and you go, where am I at here? 1 being the lowest, 10 being like, it couldn't possibly be better. This is something that I would highly recommend. You go back and watch the live thing, or grab your camera and take a picture of it, and you sit down and you write these 8 areas, 1 to 10, where am I at? Because the call to the new life, out of the old life, the call is coming from inside your house. But it's buried under a bunch of probably unconscious judgment of yourself and others maybe. So when you do this, you bring that pain right up, and guess what? That pain can be leveraged to move you into a new life. So I work with people at the highest level. I'm a high performance coach, and I work with people at the lowest level. I'm a high performance coach, okay? and sober people are all across the board, but what I do is I work with people who are willing to move. And what I kind of jokingly say, and it's not a peer-reviewed study, but I say I work with the bottom 10 and the top 10% because they are leveraged to move. They are in massive pain if they do not move. Massive pain. And that pain can be leverage. Those middle 80%, well, the world is just set up in a way that you really don't have to confront a whole lot of pain in your life. You get a pretty good experience if you're in that 20%. It might be a little worse down near that 10, 20 percentile. Might be a little bit, you get more success, but then there's more stress that can come with that success. And I can tell you, I would not want to trade places with some of these people that I work with at that top end in terms of their inner life. These people are stressed to the max. Can you relate? Okay, so we can go, the last couple things here. I just want to give you some of the things that, like, if I have, 2 more minutes of your time, what's worth that, okay? So the getting into the 12-step recovery rooms, what I found is, if you can throw that slide up with the AA symbol, okay, the Recovery Unity Service, like, I didn't know what the hell this meant. I thought these coins were corny. Now I got one in my wallet, okay? Step 10 is like recovery. Step 11 is like unity. Step 12 is like service that we're practicing. These are practicable things. And what I did is, if you can show the next slide, is I got into a place where, in coaching, this thing on the right, it was not drawn by me. It was drawn by the #1 high-performance coach in the world. He charges $1 million a year, and he only works one-on-one with billionaires. And he sounds like an a-hole, right? He's amazing, by the way. I love this guy. I wanted to hate him so bad, and he's just so good. And he's funny, and he's charismatic, and he's alive. And those things that he put up there, it looks a lot like step 10, 11, and 12 to me. And if you practice the HOW on the inside of that triangle, that stands for honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. Well, that's a path to growth. That's a formula. That's a framework. The people at the top end, this guy, by the way, he's a wine drinker. He lives in Napa, has no idea that steps 10, 11, and 12 is what he was drawing up. We're all doing the same thing. We all have the same needs. We all have the same rough ones. You want to know what you want? Those are some words for you to figure out what you want. And maybe Recovery Unity Service isn't going to help you figure out what you want, but relational goals, connection, maybe that's something to jot down here in 2026. Meaningful pursuits. So what I found, and this is like the secret to everything, and I think we're going to wrap this up and get to the next thing, is what I found is on the backs of sponsoring all of these people, and as they start to get sober and stay sober and help other people, I started to get this experience of, like, I could feel this energy coming off me like Ted O'Leary's walking into the room. Like now, there's this power that comes here. There's this power that is with me when I'm interested enough, when I want it enough. And when I start to give and I forget about time, I forgot about time. And when I forget about the money in my bank account, and when I forget about some of the other things that might be troubling me, I come out of these conversations and I don't think about the troubles. And when you think about the troubles, you get troubles. When you think about the things that you could create, you start creating these things that you could create. And all of a sudden, you go from this life that's like a freaking prison, that you want to take a night off or the rest of your life off from it. But now you've got an option to live something that's expansive. And I'll tell you, it ain't for the faint of heart. But neither is nearly drinking yourself to death and drugging yourself to death and watching your loved one do that and watching, as spiritually speaking, to feel so alone and isolated on this planet. If you're here, you have found a community. If you're here, you have people around you who are lighthouses and paths. And here's the key: you're a lighthouse too. You are a lighthouse too. So in that moment, we're going to close with this. In that moment with Ted O'Leary, what I found was, I found a way to play this game that I never found before. When I pretend that God is real, and it's a good God, by the way, when I pretend it. Okay? It's not the ones that I learned about from whatever. It's my own conception. When it's present, when it's loving, and I actually treat it like it's in you and you and you and you and you and maybe me too, deep down within me, well, the adventure starts to call. Maybe it's calling to you now. Maybe it's time to answer the call. Thank you. All right, so in the house, we have an amazing artist, if she can make her way to the stage. Yanla is their name. And is Yanla here? Yes, beautiful. So Yanla, I actually got to hear this last week, and she sang this song at this beautiful event called So Far, where they perform regularly. And it was a showstopper. All right, so it's called I'm Not Yours Anymore. All right, enjoy Yanla.
After I met Zach, all I could think was, you never know who might need your gift. And so I was really touched that a call came from Zach, because I've been feeling a little stifled in my creativity, and I don't know who needs me right now, and it felt really good to know that maybe my gift would be of use to someone and maybe here. So thank you for having me so much. Yeah, this is I'm Not Yours. I got to do a little sound check because we didn't have a chance to do that earlier, so bear with me. And excuse the fact that I'm wearing slides and fuzzy socks. I did not have time to change my shoes. Missing a chord.
There's this concept of the FFT, by the way. Yeah. There's this concept of the FFT. Does anybody know Brene Brown? Okay. Maybe if you were looking for a sign, maybe you didn't get it from the sermon. Maybe you'll get it now. But the FFT is, Brene Brown is this amazing person. She's also sober. Really cool thing. And she likes to say, my FFT is my effing first time. All right, so this is my first time preaching here. And sometimes the surprise is in the silence while the thing is happening, while the thing's all coming together. So I want you to invite this into your experience in a deeper, see what's coming up for you in this maybe uncomfortable silence. Where is the discomfort coming from? That might be a call.
Hey, Chance, are you getting signal from my keyboard? Okay. I could just do that. Thanks. Oh, all right, acapella it is. Okay. I have to give myself a pitch. I have a little bit itty bitty keyboard on my phone. I highly recommend it. It's really fun to play with. I'm not yours anymore. I'm not too good for war anymore. I'm not above the play that takes everything I've got. By any means, by any blood, I'm not yours. And all is fair in love, if that's what you want to call it. I give you all I've got, and you just give me a promise after promise that it's worth it. But if you can trade in lies, then what's the price of being honest? You're dropping kisses from the sky. By the time it arrives, it kills me. So don't act so surprised when you're smiling or run from my life. But I'm not yours anymore. I'm not too good for war anymore. I'm not above the play that takes everything I've got. And by any means, by any blood, I'm not yours. Oh, so now you're angry that I like it better living outside the palm of your hand. Whoa, whoa. This might be the first time that you ever made me laugh. You think that I would beg to belong to you, you. You're dropping fire from the sky. By the time it arrives, I yearn. So don't act so surprised when you're smiling or run from my life. 'Cause I'm not yours anymore. I'm not too good for war anymore. I'm not above the play that takes everything I've got. By any means, by any blood, I'll never, 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 never be your. the plate that takes everything I've got. I'm not yours anymore. I'm not. Last one. I'm not yours anymore. I'm not. Thank you.
Give it up for Yanla. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, as our guest storyteller makes his way to the stage, please, sir. Wow. Okay, you know, you never know what's going to happen up here, and I always find that the spiritual experience is when things don't go as planned. Yeah, really cool. All right. So on his way to the stage now is Mr. Buddy Bloom, everybody. All right, so we are here for everybody online joining us and everybody here present at Free. This is my dad. This is, yes. He's 43 years sober. He just celebrated his 43rd anniversary on Thanksgiving. Big time contributor and member of, proud member of the 12-Step Fellowship here in the Denver metro area. And also a hero of mine, right? And you can, and he also is here with the eye patch on, which is kind of like, almost like a pirate hero kind of story, which is really cool. Yeah, so I just, the first question I have for my dad here, we didn't script this beforehand, is so many people call you hero, or would think of you as a hero. There's many people here, perhaps. This guy is sponsored probably in the thousands. Not that he keeps any kind of track or anything like that, like his son. And he just lives to serve and he loves it. Do you call yourself a hero?
No. God's the hero. I'm just blessed. I was blessed by my brokenness, by my flawedness. I like to, the big book talks about it's in the pit of hell that we discover God. And that was my my journey. And I want to honor your mother, who was there, who really did the job in bringing you up. And Craig, her husband. And it's wonderful to have you guys here tonight with us. I'm so blessed to have that relationship with Zach's mom and her new husband, Craig. And that's because of God. And when Craig came into our life, he said, I don't want to separate your family. I want to join your family. He's my hero. He's the epitome of love, and he brings love, and he brought love into our family. And I remember Maureen saying to me, buddy, if you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd really like this guy. And sure enough, I fell in love with him. He's like my dearest pal. And go figure, what goes around comes around. And Craig was that beacon. He was that light that you're talking about for me. And there's been some angels that came along in my life, and I like to say when I grow up, I want to be like him. And they're the humble ones. They're to me, like if you work in a grocery store or you work on a road gang, you know, filling potholes, and your job in a grocery store is putting food back on the shelves for us people who come in to buy groceries and stuff, they're the heroes. They're the heroes in our lives.
So I'm catching themes of service. Yeah, that you're a guy that finds a lot of value in others serving you and how you serve others. So this is the thing. It's like you talk about, if you want to talk about my dad and you want to try and corner him to talk about himself, you know, you might catch him in an AA share or something, but really, immediately, I couldn't find a picture alone with this, of this guy just alone by himself. He always has somebody that he's hugging if he's in a picture. He talks about these other people. So tell me, what, by making it about other people, why do you do that?
Well, that's what I'm here for. I have a saying. I call my higher power Big G because it's capitalized, you know. And so I say if Big G wakes me up, I get up, suit up, show up. That's my job. So I've been blessed with great health, you know, and longevity. And so the most blessed gift I've been given is the opportunity to just, you know, show up in these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous or Cocaine Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. I'm so grateful for the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependency. They changed the name, you know.
Yeah, can you speak on that a little bit about, like, when people talk about the primary purpose or a recovery community like this where there's people in recovery, not in community, they're sober, but maybe they're not doing like a 12-step program, but they're finding sobriety in other ways. The singleness of purpose in AA, which states that we're just going to talk about alcohol or whatever. Can you talk a little bit on that?
Yeah, because I see it way beyond that. It's kind of the stuff that you're into, you know, going beyond. And it's how we live our lives and move and have our being in the world. Chuck C. talks about, you know, I could not move and have my being comfortably in the world. That's what this is about. And we come in broken. And that's the gift. The gift is to be broken, is to surrender. And, you know, I came in hard-headed agnostic, you know. And by God's grace, I got the gift of awareness. And who gave it to me? The members in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous in my case, perhaps cocaine or NA in your case. And you know, it doesn't matter where it comes from. The key is they were like me. They shared my pain, my suffering, and then they showed me the light. So I got to understand, like I like to say, I came to, and then I came to believe. For me, I didn't come in believing, that's all. And if you are in that position, it's okay. Don't fret it. You know, you don't have to figure it out up here. It's an experiential thing. You feel it in here. And that's by living it. And how do I live it? Well, like I said, if God allows me to wake up, I get up, suit up, show up. And then it's like I show up early at the den. Dragon's Den is where I hang. And I make the coffee in the morning. And I come back at 5:30. Lots of times around 4, to meet with anybody that comes in early. Why do I spend so much time in the rooms? Because it's God's gift to me to be of service to whoever walks through the door. That's the gift. The gift is just, you know, being. You know, I remember early on in my journey, I said to my sponsor, we read that, you know, what would God have us be? And I said, Arlen, that's a misprint. That should read do. And think of it. We get in the do-do. I'm doing this, roll. And being is breathe. Pause. I didn't understand prayer and meditation. I didn't understand that's the reason for it. Connect. Connect with something beyond me. You know, a power greater than myself. And I had poo-pooed it. I had thrown it out, the baby with the bathwater, the anti-religiosity. And I was as dumb as a stick and twice as smart as a rock when it came to living life on life's terms, because I made a mess of it, you know, and I didn't understand. I didn't understand I was sick. I wasn't bad. And when people come in and they say, I was the biggest asshole there ever was, I said, no, you acted like an asshole. You're not an asshole. You're a wounded child of God. And I've come to understand the woundedness. And that's the gift, to be wounded, you know. And I loved your story about Teddy. And I knew Teddy. I coached him. I was an ice hockey coach. And, you know, I've known a lot of great young men. And that's my lifeblood today, is the young men that come into the rooms, the young women that come into the rooms. The last 15, 20 years, you know the best thing that's happened in AA is the sisterhood. The growth of the sisterhood is phenomenal. And it's...
We're going to wrap up. Yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap up. The Blooms managed to both cuss on stage tonight, so that's a feat. I feel like that should go in the yearbook for the family. Can everybody give it up for Buddy Blom, please? All right, and so now we are going to do the heartaches. Yes, and so if you're joining online, please drop your heartaches into the comment section on Facebook or YouTube, and we will get to you. You guys can come on up and pass the mics around. We're going to take another few seconds. Every time we meet and connect here, we do spend time at the end for heartaches, just like we spend time at the beginning with celebrations. So what's on your heart? Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Kim, and I have two friends, Jean and Sharon, who are both struggling with stage 4 cancer, so if we can keep them in our prayers. Jean and Sharon, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jordan, and my mom was recently in the hospital for like an infection. Thankfully she was able to get out, but if you guys could just keep her in your prayers, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe, and I happen to have brain cancer, and I'm trying to go through that while living the program and trying to be a useful person in society. As Buddy said, I'm a broken person and need to heal up a lot, so thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Be in our prayers.
Name's Katie. Hundreds of thousands of friends and family. So we just pray for them.
Thank you.
our dear sister in recovery just lost her sister. So Joanna, she's currently grieving, and if we could all pray and be with her, that she stays strong in this time.
All right, y'all. Do we have any from online? Go ahead.
This is Erin for my dad. Ever since my mama passed away of liver failure 10 freaking years ago, my dad is beyond depressed. His name is Travis. We're praying for both of you, Erin.
Thanks, Erin. This is from Jess. I just lost a dear friend to addiction, praying for his family. Thank you, Jess. We'll be praying for you.
And I do have a quick announcement. If your name is Caitlin and you are missing a credit card, I have what's your last name? Come and tell me after. Because I'm not just going to give it to any Caitlin, but I may or may not have your credit card. So come and hang out with me.
We don't do shame, but we do check IDs. Yeah.
We do check IDs. Thank you all for being here tonight. And Zach, can you guys give it a round of applause for Zach?
Thank you. I love you guys. I love this community.
And Buddy, it is really hard to get up here. So thank you both. And this is amazing to see generations of recovery and what you guys do for this recovery community. So thank you both. And if you have been affected by addiction and have been, sorry, words are hard sometimes.
You're killing it.
Jeez, friends. If you have been impacted by what we do here at Free, I want you guys to know that we do rely on your generous giving. I am so far behind on this slide, so I am so sorry. I'm going to make this go quickly. There are 3 ways to give. You can either download our app, and then you can give either monthly or weekly. You can also go to our website at freerecoverycommunity.com. Just do the drop-down menu onto Give. Or you can go just outside of these doors if you are the cash or check type people. And there are little kiosks just outside of these doors here. And any of this information, if you forgot anything that I just said, you can just go to our website. It has all the information that you need. But we do rely on your generous giving. Thank you all so very much. And again, thank you, Zach.
Yeah. Who's been affected by the mission here at Free? Yes. Okay, so if your hand is raised, I'm paid to push, okay? And I'm not being paid by these guys at all, so it's a very rare thing that I can come up here and just love. But if you've never given $1, or if there might be something on your heart, I'm just going to ask you to take a look at it, okay? See if there's a calling in there, right? Get into the difficult space. And if you've never given, I don't give money to places like that. But if you're here and you're getting value from it, what's happening here is there's lives being changed as a result of people paying the bills in this building. So if you want to be a part of that mission, it feels amazing to do that. So I would invite you to do that.
Thank you, Zach. And we're going to go out with a prayer?
Okay, yeah, we're going to go out with a prayer. FFT. Can I cuss during the prayer? No, just kidding. Okay, so what we do here is we open our hands to let go of things, to receive things, and we're going to go out tonight with the Serenity Prayer. It's on the screens around you if you want to take a look. And it goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, get home safe, y'all. Thanks for joining online. We love you guys. Hang out afterwards.